Good evening, everyone. It's Sunday night at 9:30, a little bit earlier than normal, Leigh. Of course, it's the APAT show. It's sort of nice to be back. We've been working on a really strange schedule over the last 4 to 5 weeks, it feels like, but we are back, Leigh, right?
I'm just chuckling because this is our second live stream of the night, and the first one you said it's Friday night, so at least you got the right day.
I've had practice now. I've had practice, you know.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, so guys, this is kind of 9:30 is sort of, or just after 9:30 is going to be our new time slot for 2024. Basically, for those of you that know, obviously we've been doing a lot of poker raffles draws in the last couple of months, and they're going to run at 9 o'clock on a Sunday night, and then pretty much once Des and I have grabbed a quick coffee and
we've crapped.
Yeah, that as well. Yeah, then we're going to we'll get on with the APAT show. So we're going to be a little bit earlier, which is we might finish a little bit earlier as well, which maybe on a Sunday night is not such a bad thing. But we have the option if there's good stuff going on. Online, we can follow that to the end. And of course, if we've got a good guest, well, that means we could be going on into the early hours. And Des, have we got a good guest tonight?
Do we have a good guest? We do have a good guest. He's a special one. Dan, lovely to see you. Not too long. And tell me, my friend, how are you out of 10?
Well, a solid 9, I think, today.
Solid 9.
How are you?
I'm not bad. Naming the days aside, I'm probably a good solid 8, 9 as well. But I'm mixing up my Friday, Saturday, Sundays. But to be honest, it's been a crazy week. It's been a crazy 2 weeks. It'd be nice to get back to some normality, and I'm seeing this as the return to normality. An APAT show on a Sunday night for me for about 2 to 3 years now is normality. So it's nice to be back.
I think what it's telling us is every day's a weekend for you, isn't it?
I wish. I wish. I wish.
Yeah. And of course, the fact is, guys, is since we've last, I think the last APAT show we did was probably the Hearts of Queens raffle just before Christmas. But actually, what's gone on in the world of poker in the last couple of months, in general, is loads to talk about. We've obviously had the APAT first APAT event of the year with the UK Team Championship to talk about. We've got a bunch of guys that have been at the UKPC this weekend, sponsored by GG, and we'll give you an update on some of theirs, and some of the guys that have had free tickets from that from our World Championships last year or playing the online events last year. So we'll try and give you an update on some of those as well. There's absolutely just loads been going on. There's stuff online. I've got a huge list of stuff to talk about. I don't know how we'll get it all in 90 minutes, but we'll give it a go, Des.
Well, I like it. So it's taken us about. Well, it's 2024, Leigh, so it can't be too far short of 4 years, right? We've been doing this nonsense now, and that's remarkable. That's mad that we've been doing this every week for close to 4 years. Of course, it started as a bit of a lockdown thing. Hey, let's just do a couple of live streams, right? Because we're all stuck in our houses. Could be good fun. We'll play some poker. 4 years later, we're still doing it. For the first time in 4 years, you said to me before the stream, you said, hey, why didn't we set it for 90 minutes, Des? And I think I went, have a finishing time on it? That's a really good idea. It's taken us about four years to figure out, you know what? We could have a finishing time on it. So we might be 10 minutes early. We might be 10 minutes late. But generally speaking, we're going to run from about 9:30 to 11, all being well. If there's some poker on, we might watch some poker. We hope to have some great guests on. I think we've got a good one on tonight. And so we'll have a bit of a chat about poker for sure, but also some of the other things that interest us and you during the week. So with all of that said, Leigh, you have an incredibly long list. You're not sure whether we're going to get through it by 11. I have an incredibly long list, Leigh. Dan probably has. Well, Dan's probably got a really short one. He's probably got a really little list. Very little list, I'd have thought.
That's a problem I've dealt with for many years. It's fine.
We go there as well, folks. Okay, we go there as well.
Wrong with it. But of course, what we want from you guys is involvement in the chat. So whatever platform you are following us on tonight, give us a shout out, say hi. It'd be great to get your involvement on what's going on. So what I was going to kick things off with, we're going to try and keep it, poker related, and we've got some stuff. Obviously, for those that were following the poker raffles draw that we did at 9:00, we got a clip from that. So if you don't know the winner, we're not going to spoil it for you, but we'll have a chat about that in a little while. But I want to just roll back to the beginning of December, to when we had this big Clash of the Titans poker events that caused carnage throughout the world. Now, Dan was up one of those, and so interested to know how that trip went for Dan. But I'm kind of just curious what you guys' view was on who were the big winners out of that. Was one of the event a big winner? Was poker in general a big winner? How do we feel that played out, and will it happen again moving forward?
Who's going?
That's you, Dan. You're the expert. I'm just the eye candy.
I would say that there was clearly a big winner from an industry perspective, I suppose, and probably two. I don't think anybody lost out, but the other two kind of fell off a little bit. And for me, it was WPT. Granted, I was there, and I know they missed their guarantee by a small margin. However, the way they dealt with it, the class that they showed, I think the reaction from players for all the things that were offered, it was just an incredible event. And I feel like even though they missed the guarantee, there's no detriment to their brand. I think they're going to move forward and keep delivering. That player experience is really unique. I think GG's pile of whatever was a pile of whatever, and I think that really missed the mark. And I think players kind of voted with their feet, hence their low numbers as well. I mean, the only reason they even got to a guarantee was all these last minute online qualifiers, right? So yeah, for me, I think EPT is EPT, and it's got the audience it'll always have. So I don't think much changes there. But for me, it was a clear.
EPT had good numbers though, Dan. Yeah, they were doing well.
Well, their timing was a little bit better, right? Because it allowed the Europeans to play EPT, and if they didn't go, I think it was day 4. If they weren't in day 4, they were able to fly over and catch the last flight of WPT. So like, their timing was a little bit better. And there was also some issues. I don't know if you're aware, but some of the guys trying to fly from the Bahamas got stuck. One of the planes got grounded at the airport. And they would have made it just in time to catch to hit late reg of the last flight of WPT Championship. But yeah, the plane got grounded, so they were stuck and therefore missed the main event, which is interesting. And again, with those additional players, I think they'd have been very, very close to the guarantee.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I have to say,
win for WPT, definitely.
Yeah, I think the WPT team did a great job, and I think they're onto something there. They're onto something big. I think they've upped their game. They feel like they are, really, really up there. I think GG did a great job, considering that I think before the giant playoff between the three of them, that looked to be the one that would lose out the most. It's a long way to go. WPT was super attractive, based in Vegas. EPT has a super loyal following. So, I mean, certainly to me, it felt like that was the one that was most likely going to lose out. But I think they worked hard online in particular, managed to get a lot of players down there. I suppose coming out of it, I hope between them all, they have the sense to figure out their scheduling a little better next year, because it does put a lot of pressure on the poker community to, have to pick and choose between what are 3 great events. Many players would choose to play all 3 if they were in 3 different sort of slightly more, windows that just suited them. November, December, Jan, maybe. But fair play to the poker community for getting out there and playing. I mean, 3 huge events.
Yeah, it's interesting. So obviously, if we look at this time last year, obviously GG's event basically moves forward a month to try and compete with the other 2, which has meant January is actually quite unusual. Normally, there's something big flagship happening around the world in a January, and there isn't one this year. Granted, we've got stuff going on at Dusk Till Dawn and so on and so forth, and 888's tours this weekend, but like internationally, like one of those big brands, there's always something in a January, and this year we haven't got anything. Yeah. It feels a little bit flat to me. I don't know what you guys think.
We're really missing the Aussie the Aussie Masters. I mean, isn't that be the big thing in January? Once upon a time, everybody would go down to, was it Sydney or Melbourne?
Melbourne, wasn't it? Well,
was it Melbourne?
Poker's banned there for a while, but there is a new tour coming from Australia.
The Crown Casino, right?
Yes,
it used
absolutely.
to be. That was huge. That was huge. A great way to start the year.
So you might know. I'm trying to think what the guy's name is now. Will Davies, UK poker pro back in the day, like young lad, probably a little bit younger than me. He's out there now and he's setting something up. So there's going to be a big flagship event back in Australia this year, I believe. So I don't know all the details, but I've heard the rumor mill.
Wasn't a PCA always in January?
PCA used to be in January as well. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's always things that have been in January. But anyway, it just feels a bit. I mean, European-wise, we've got loads, right? The 2550s, obviously Grosvenor and 888 have got their new tour that happened in Coventry last week.
Yep.
And again, 888 are in Madrid right now, I believe. So there's a lot of stuff for Europe.
UKPC, right?
Yeah.
Great success. They've had some great numbers in the main event.
Well, they've absolutely smashed the numbers, and I suppose we should give a little shout out to a number of players that ran deep in that from APAT. So first of all, we had all the guys that qualified through the world. So the England team and Chris Ralston, our main event champion, and Stefan Roeder, who was our player of the series champion. So they all got seats courtesy of GG Poker, and also we had 6 online winners that also picked up weekly leaderboard wins, and they also got seats to play the online day ones at the UKPC. So yeah, looking at it today, so that the APAT show's very own Tony G turned his free seat from online into a min cash. So he picked up £1,000 cash. So very well done to you, Tony. Took a stack through from one of the on live day ones. So very well done to him. Now, our main event champion, Chris Ralston, he was second in chips coming out of day 1B.
Yeah.
And didn't go so well on day 2 today. But he min cashed, though. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he cashed, though. So he min cashed. So very, very well done to him. So nicely done. A couple of other players I did see in there, though, as well. Danny Strange was up there playing. I don't think he managed to turn his on live day 1 into anything, but he min cashed as well. And Triplin.
Yeah,
had a little bit more than a min cash. I think he picked up about 1,500. I think for his finish as well. So say a bunch of APATers running deep in bigger tournaments, which is always lovely to see. Lots of names you recognise in the list as well. Still going strong in that. And I think it's just over 100,000 is the first prize for that. They absolutely smashed that. And one other little shout out. Ben Burnhill, obviously, keeping it in the family. Des came second in the PLO the other night for about 1,500 quid, I think it was, in that. So he was down for the week and had been playing a number of the events. So very well done to Ben as well. And I'm sure there's others that I've missed as well. It's difficult to keep up to date with all the results when you've got these big festivals going on. But I think, as you guys say, the UK and Europe, 2024 feels huge.
Yes.
There feels so much going on. I mean, just ourselves, we've already announced 14 dates. Obviously, we've already done one, the UK Team Championship. We'll come onto that a little bit later on as well. But we're already one down. But we've already announced another 13, and we've still got a couple more in the background that we're trying to get across the line as well. Sometimes it's difficult to get venues to confirm on dates, and rather than hold off, we just go, well, we'll go with what we've got, and if we can add another couple more in there, because I know there was a number of people that were kind of disappointed we weren't getting back to Wales this year. So we are still working on a couple of events, but we're big, as you say, Dan. The Grosvenor have gone big. 888 have stepped up in the market. You've seen what PokerStars did last year with the UK IPT, and that's coming back stronger again this year. We know GG are going to do more in the market. There's you've now got the EAPT tour as well across Europe, plus the EPTs and all of the other the tours that go with the kind of the regional ones that go with that. There's so much poker in Europe this year.
A lot of poker, a lot of price points being hit as well, which I think is really key. I think Grosvenor and 888 pairing up together for this new tour is genius, because 888 being an online card room doesn't have access to brick and mortar. Grosvenor's online traffic's pretty small in comparison and has brick and mortar. So I think the combination there is really, really good. And the numbers looked phenomenal in Coventry, so that was great to see. And yeah, it's just there's so much going on. It's good for players of all kind of buy-ins and abilities to go and find some poker at the weekend. So, I mean, even the 25-50s that Grosvenor run, I think it was Blackpool today missed the guarantee, but all the others with UKPC running still managed to hit their guarantee and was still supported quite well. I think there was 4 on this weekend. So yeah, lots going on. So we can't complain as players, which is what we're normally good at. So, yeah.
No, and of course, and the other thing is even the likes of, I mean, we're at Aspers in Stratford next month for the European Championship of Amateur Poker. But they run, I think they run 4 seasonal festivals that are very much just their own thing, but with big guarantees on them. And they're seeing, ridiculously good numbers for those as well. So even the kind of the standalone card rooms that maybe haven't got an online partner behind them or whatever as such to drive track it, are still seeing a boom in poker.
I saw Les Croupes, where you guys obviously hosted in Wales. They had their winter championship, and I think they guaranteed something crazy like 50k or something. I think the first prize was like 11 or 12 grand, like for it wasn't a big buy, like 250 maybe, something like that.
When we were there, Dan, I was chatting to the management team there, and that whole area now, there's nowhere else to play poker in the southwest. So a lot of the Swansea have closed down, Bristol have closed down. Well, yeah, I say I'm preaching to the converted here with this one, but so they say their catchment area, they're picking up people driving from Birmingham to come down and play a good quality, good structured tournament. And the APAT event there was sold out. We absolutely smashed it there. And they are putting on, say, weekly schedules that are just getting bigger and bigger, which is nice to see.
Yeah, like you said, I know I was speaking to somebody this weekend, and like Rainbow and Bristol, which used to be a bit of a powerhouse for kind of standard casino poker, is all self-deal, high rake, no backing from the casino whatsoever. So it's nice to see that that some of these kind of independent casinos are working hard to get it right, which is important.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's close out the kind of December chat with, how was your trip, Dan? How did you find Vegas in December? Have you done that time of year before?
No, it was colder than I expected. I couldn't quite believe it. I arrived late Vegas time on the insert day here. I can't remember now, Sunday or Monday. Went straight to the players' party. So sort of checked into my hotel, straight to the players' party to meet some people. And yeah, I remember coming out of there about 1 a.m. and I was freezing in a shirt and
Where
jeans.
did you stay, Dan? Where were you?
Well, I hopped about a bit, so I stayed a little bit at the Wynn, but for the first couple of nights I was in Treasure Island, which was an experience, shall we say. Never stayed there before. Same time as the national rodeo thing that they have in Vegas. So could not see past the cowboy hats for love nor money. Ended up with a room that smelt of stale sick and cigarettes. So typical Vegas holiday. But
did you have to pay extra for that or what?
Yeah, I was going to say, that was the upgrade. But no, it was all right. Like, it served its purpose, and the Wynn stayed at the Wynn for the second half, and the Wynn was phenomenal, beautiful. I thought the series was really well organized. All the players seemed to be having a great time. I think WPT did a really good job looking after kind of the people that came out. I was fortunate enough to play it, and as a kind of classed as a qualifier, quote unquote. The journey was seamless, being able to register, get sorted, etc. Very, very slick and easy. The poker itself was, the standard. I said this to a couple of people and I think they were shocked, but I promise you, if you go and sit at a kind of slightly better than average APAT table, you're not far away from the standard I saw on my table. If I'm very, very honest with you, it wasn't high. Don't get me wrong, as the field whittles down and the kind of the cream rises to the top, the players left in the last sort of two or three tables were very strong. But yeah, the table I played with was absolutely interesting, to say the least. But no, it's a fun experience. We didn't sadly find a bag. We're not very good winning our all-ins. But yeah, no, it was a great experience, and
how was Vegas? Did Vegas feel busy? Compared to kind of a summer? How did you find kind of around Vegas? The whole
very quiet. It felt very quiet. No queues at restaurants. No queues at anywhere really. You could pop in and get a Denny's or insert any typical Vegas restaurant name in, and you weren't really queuing at all unless you were trying to eat in the Wynn itself, or
yeah.
In that section. Everywhere else on the strip itself was pretty easy, which was nice. It didn't feel like a poker festival, Vegas, like the summer does. So yeah, it was good, and the roads were great. After the Grand Prix, you could get in an Uber.
I was going to say, was there any? Had they cleared everything away by the time you were there, or
pretty much? Yeah,
okay. Because you would have only been there about a couple of weeks after I left, I think, probably when I left for the Formula One. So I think you maybe,
I think it was
maybe 2 or 3 weeks.
I want to say
about 3 weeks.
So,
but pretty much you wouldn't have even known it had taken place then. There was nothing.
Bar the drivers moaning about it, you wouldn't have had a clue. You really wouldn't have.
Wow, it's
but no, it's good.
It's quite mad, and the fact that they're going to do that setup every single year for it is just nuts. Because I say, if you were out there when the F1 was on to see quite what they put out there, it's just phenomenal. The infrastructure for it.
We did get to see one of the highest scoring game in Raiders history as well, which was quite cool.
Did you go to the stadium? Did you? Nice.
Yeah, so we went to see them play the Chargers. So friends of mine at WPT, Andrea, who some of you may know, that comes to APAT, she went and took some clients out to the game before the week prior, and they saw an exciting NFL scoreline of 3-0. Yes, 3-0. Like the lowest scoring game in franchise history. And then we went the week after to see the Chargers. I think it finished 63-21 or something like that. It was crazy. Like I follow American football a bit, but if you can imagine, if you could kind of have a bingo card of things that can happen in an NFL game, it had all of it. It had the big guy scoring a touchdown. It had a punt return. It had fumbles. It had intercept. It had the work. It was really exciting game. Good to see. And
mental note, Des, make note of go to Vegas when we know Andrea's going to be there, and we'll get some freebie tickets for stuff. Yeah,
I can't see how that could possibly go wrong, Leigh. But I will. I will write that down.
Yeah,
Angela.
It'll be fine. Yeah. It'll be fine.
Look, as long as I don't wake up with a tiger in my room, I'm okay with it.
You'll be fine.
I mean, if you stay at Treasure Island, it could happen.
yeah.
Just going to be a slightly older tiger than normal, probably with some sort of urinary problem. That's what you're telling me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that could be. That could be. So, of course, back in January for early start with APAT in 2024, Dan, and Only went and did the business up in Dusseldorf.
Look at that handsome bunch of people!
Fine,
wow,
fine bunch of lads.
Talk us through the team, Dan. Obviously, the skipper was Simon, who we've had on the show before, and obviously is heavily involved with Talk Club as a charity. But how did you get involved with it?
I had a message from Simon to say, hello, sir. I'm sure you'll want to put a poker news team in, but I'd really like you to come and support and share the message of the charity. I've not been massively involved with the charity prior. I've made some donations when I can. I've checked out a local one up the road from me since we've moved to this area, so I'm very aware of kind of the charity and what's going on. So yeah, as soon as Simon asked, obviously super excited to support the cause, and I'm not one for being quiet, so I felt I could try and push the message as hard as I could for them. And then I saw the team, and it just kind of like superstar after superstar, really, as the names started falling out. If we just look left to right, the main man, Tristan, who's obviously gone deep again, APAT's record casher, I believe, or amount of money cash. He's, what isn't there to say about him? So that was a nice addition. And then you got JP and Rob, who I used to play poker with 10, 12 years ago back in Bristol in the old Gambling Network forum days. So I've known those two for a very, very long time, as I've known Ian for a very long time, Mr. Wick, who was the unsung hero of the weekend.
Fantastic, yeah.
Never seen somebody grind a bowl like that man can grind a bowl. Oh my God, unselfish, just did the job for the team, really, and sort of let me, Simon, and Adam do the work that we needed to do to try and give ourselves the best chance of locking it up on day 2. Rich Wilcox, who is one of Simon's really good friends, who was our unfortunate first bustee. Although interesting trivia.
He went early, didn't he, Dan?
Oh, he was first. He was first
very
out.
early.
I think he was first out.
An incredible comeback to win that tourney.
Well, I have to tell you,
that unlucky first out.
I've told many people and they hate it, but this is the 3rd time I've won this title, and each time we've had the very first player knocked out. Each time. So for Gambling Network Forum, we had the same guy knocked out first both times. Believe it or not. Why we invited him the second time, I'm still not sure. But we managed to win it from there, and then this year we had the first one. So I think, guys, if you're looking to win the APAT Team Championships, you need to bring a ringer in.
That's the secret.
Get them to bust in the first orbit, and then you're golden. That's how it works. And then lastly, Adam Neal. Been on the APAT show. We all know Adam, bit of a bot now and again, but the main man. He put in a great shift for us coming in. Where did he finish? I think he finished 15th, just inside the money. It was all in all.
Rich was. I spoke to Rich at the bar, and he was so gutted. So he doesn't play much. He doesn't play much APAT, but he comes up and plays the team event if he can get into a team and gets it. Or Simon can and he's played the odd other event for us and loves it. Doesn't play a lot of poker, but when he does come and play APAT, absolutely loves it. And he was gutted because he'd been looking forward to that event, and he busted out in the I think it was wasn't even the first orbit.
True story, Leigh.
The first,
True story. I was doing all of the pictures of all of the tables, and I was literally 5 feet from Richard's table, and I was just about to take a picture when he stood up, turned, and started walking towards me. Now, instinctively, I wanted to say, "Hey, how are you out of 10?" But I knew it wasn't the right time. So I just let him go. But you could tell the disappointment, right? Because it's a long way to come. And you're out first, but for your team, right? It's a team event. But as it transpires, because it is a team event, you can win if you're out first. Not an issue. Well done to Richard. Well done to the team, Dan. So, look, here's the challenge that Mr. Brook will have next year. And it's classically in the direction of what you just said in relation to your Gambling Network Forum wins. Ideally, you bring the same team back again to defend, right? So it doesn't matter that Richard was first out. He was part of the winning team.
Oh, I'll be honest. The levels of dedication between the guy that we had the 2 years in a row versus Rich is uncomparable. He's absolutely welcome back, and the guy did what he needed to do, and he thought it was the right thing. And sometimes people have aces, right? That's just the game that we play. But no, we're confident he'll come back and he'll put a good shift in next year. And look for the back-to-back, and then maybe the 3P. That's the aim.
Absolutely. Listen, guys, talking about that event in particular and having aces and what have you, Team Fair Play, who finished third, right? So Ben's team, Ben Walter's team, just absolutely incredible. Jordan and Shannon, right? So Jordan is blind. Jordan became something of a star coming out of that event because we posted a little picture up with a little bit of text just sort of saying, hey, Jordan is blind. He's going deep in this event. He's been supported by his better half, Shannon, who sat behind him and is sort of, telling him the cards, some of the action, and he's making all of the decisions, right? And it just went a bit viral on Facebook. There must have been over 400,000 views, just a chunk of comments, huge amount of engagement, people from all over the world literally coming in to say how amazing this was. And I have to say, felt a little proud just to be there to see it and to meet the two of them very briefly. It was just great, Leigh, was it not?
So I think Ben's just summed it up in the chat beautifully. He said he broke the internet. I think he did. I mean we've been running APAT for say now crikey, it feels like
donkey's years.
About 18 years, and we were on the APAT forum before then. We get a lot of chat and a lot of interaction on there, and we've kind of moved over to the Facebook group now. And I tell you, and I've kind of been in the background, you're moderating and keeping an eye on everything for over the years. I don't think I have ever seen interaction with people outside of the community as much as this story. This story with Jordan Shannon was. We've had people joining the group they just want to comment and want to interest. I mean, there's been some amazing comments of people going, I didn't know that was possible. I know somebody who's blind and wants to can't play anymore. They didn't know this. It's just opened up a whole discussion, and I guess in the same way we talk about Talk Club talking about things, this has just opened up a whole discussion for people around what is possible and what could be achieved. And it's just a phenomenal story. And of course, he went on to make the final table.
Yeah.
And earned enough, not only an individual cash for himself, but picked up a medal as well for the team. The team, when Ben told me that they'd all agreed as a team that they were going to split their prize money 9 ways. So Shannon very much was part of the team, and therefore they were doing a 9-way split. And the minute he said that to me, this is when we were about sort of a couple of tables out, and I just straight away just said to him, "Well, I'll tell you what, Ben, if you guys medal, we'll be giving you a 9th medal." 100%, whatever color that might be, and we were lucky enough to get to do that because the guys managed to medal as well, which was just phenomenal.
I mean, I have to say, I played with him late on day 2. Obviously, he got to play on a bit longer than I did, but firstly, amazing to see, and the fact that you don't pick anything up. I sat opposite him, I could pretty much see. Obviously, you can't see Shannon's lips because she's covering them. But, I was right in front, so I should be able to. If anybody had a chance bar the seat across, I thought I'd have picked something up. Not that I was intentionally looking for it, but very, very good at what they do. I learned a lot that we don't talk about aces, we talk about ones, because aces sound too similar to 8s, and he gets confused, which is an interesting.
Oh, really? Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, that's fascinating. Okay,
but for me, the most comforting thing was just how humble and funny he was with it. He put an absolute zinger out there on our table in day 2, where there's an all-in and a call with a short stack. And I don't remember the exact hands, but I'll make them up for ease of storytelling. Let's say it's like Ace-Jack versus King-9. So the flop comes out and the whole table goes, ooh, because it's the hand that's behind flops a pair. The hand that's ahead flops the lowest pair, and then the high card comes on the turn for the other person, so then there's like this, and then the river comes and gets the big stack 2 pair to come from behind again, and the table erupts, and everybody's laughing and jostling, and there's a bit of chatter here, there, and everywhere. And as soon as it dies down, Jordan just kind of looks to the table and says, "Was that an exciting hand?" The whole table just started erupting.
Brilliant.
Just so deadpan and so
fantastic. Well, Ben's out there and he says, just add to how humble Jordan is. I spoke to him last weekend and he couldn't understand the hype, which is probably true of the lad. I did lean into sort of Shannon and I said, sorry, what's your name? Because I'm just going to put a picture of the two of you up. Is that okay? And she said, I'm Shannon. Yeah, that's fine. And, tell they weren't expecting any hype from it. To be honest, I wasn't expecting any hype from it. Just thought it would be a part of the update. But it did go a bit mad. And I thought it was lovely. After the event, I think it was probably on the Monday when that whole Jordan and Shannon thread was just going mad. He put up a little picture of himself with, I guess, his guide dog and his medal. And it was just, thanks everyone for, all of the nice things that you're saying, which shows he's a humble guy. And the good news is Jordan is actually going to be on the stream next weekend. So next Sunday night, it will be our chance to talk directly to Jordan about his experience at APAT. I dropped him a message today. I said, hey, do you want to come on a bit early? You want to come on tonight instead? And he said, I couldn't do it. He's at the UKPC. So clearly the lad gets around. He likes to play his poker. So there he was in Nottingham, but he will be on the stream next weekend. And hopefully Shannon will be on with him as well. That would be amazing, right?
Yeah, I believe Matt Pitt, our writer's in contact with him, so I expect there to be some sort of feature article on Poker News as well over the oncoming weeks, sort of talking about his background, how he got into poker, and kind of what he's doing, which I think will be really nice. There's a lot of we obviously write a lot of stories about the big stuff going on, all the $1 million prize pools, and I think it's nice to actually be able to shout out some of these unsung heroes that are doing some great things. So it'd be really interesting. So looking forward to speaking to him.
I think Carl Pilgrim put a lovely post on. We're just talking about poker in general. The fact that actually there aren't many barriers to stop anybody from playing. There's always a way, and therefore you've got the ability to compete on as level a playing field as you're likely to get in kind of a competitive environment. And so poker gives you that. And that's the way it should be. Just looking in the chat, see Jonathan Lane's post up just saying, "Hi all, haven't played APAT for a few years and wanted to get back to the felt. What's the best way for me to come back?" Well, I mean, just rock up and play. We've got events coming up, so find something that's going to be close to you, and find a way of getting involved. Get back onto the Facebook group and get involved in any chat that's going on there or anything we've got going online. But say once an APAT member, very much always an APAT member, and it'd be great to see you back at an event soon, Jonathan. So do just get involved and see how it goes on the UK team event. I mean, we should give a shout out to the Midland freelancers as well, to Gaz Howard and the team for a superb performance with them. A number of faces you'll recognise there from kind of the BCPC scene, and such a strong group up there, obviously, because Malvern Poker also they managed to cash as well in the event. So and the fifth place was Blue Blood, which was Di Farrell's and the guys there. So really great top 5 teams managed to do that. And of course we should give a shout out to the individual winner, who is a long-standing member of APAT, Rob Swindells, who that was just superb. Absolutely superb. His 2 kids were at home watching the live stream, genuinely desperate for him to win. They'd done a little. He showed me a bit on his phone. They'd done a little sign. Hey, Dad, can I have your hoodie? Kind of thing when he won. It was an absolutely beautiful thing. So they were watching it. I'm Fantastic. Really pleased for Rob. That's the first individual goal for Rob. He was obviously has been involved in team events in the past, but superb for him. So really, I thought he played really well on that final table. It was a tough final table to get through, but he played it superbly well. He played
really, really well. Final 4 tables. He moved to my right pretty early in day 2, and he was the only guy from his team left. So he understood the mission, so to speak, and played impeccably well, actually. Like, really picked up on the teams, didn't ask many questions. He let the other teams kind of point out who still had players left, who didn't, kind of what the team situation was, and he was really, really smart in kind of applying pressure to the right players at the right time with any two bags of spanners, I suppose, and it worked out really well for him. He wasn't scared to ramp up the aggression. I've known Rob for many years, was on the GNF team with him many years ago. But he played sort of perfect poker, I would say, for the team event, considering how many bubbles there are in that team event and sort of how it plays out so differently. I thought he played absolutely perfectly for kind of fantastic down to the final table until it was decided, obviously the order of the teams. So well done, Rob.
It's easy to forget. Of course, Rob's been around APAT for many, many years, right all the way back to the start. But Rob won a Sunday Million or something on Stars, going back like for an ungodly sum of money, going back 10, 12, maybe 14 years ago. It might not have been the main Sunday Million, but it was something close to it.
It definitely was. It was either top few in the million, or he won the warm up or something like that.
Yeah, it was something like that.
It was. I might be wrong, and sadly, the Gambling Network forum, Matt Dale, sort it out, is debunked and gone. But I want to say it was second in the warm up.
Yeah, could have been. I just seem to remember it was like 80 or 90 grand. You know, it was a big proper score. Fair play. Lovely guy. And of course, Laura, his wife, was at home as well. And everybody was, you know, he said to me before, during a break or something, he said, yeah, they're all calling for me at home, but they won't be watching the start of the stream because Gladiator's back. They're watching Gladiator. To be honest, Rob, I'm sorry, but like, you know, I understand that. I get that. You know, I get that. So that was Rob. So a famous footballer took part, Leigh. This went a little bit under the radar. I don't know if you're aware, as part of the Birmingham, sort of the exodus from Birmingham, right? Partially we saw the Midlands team coming to play here. A famous footballer who recently left Birmingham. I think I see him as part of this team here on the extreme right-hand side. That's not Wayne Rooney, is it? At the back there? Yeah, like
definitely not. Yeah,
just a little bit. Maybe not. Just a little bit.
You're reaching there. You're reaching.
Well, yeah. That's what we do, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So just finally on the team event, Dan, just give a little shout out to your skipper, because he's one of 40 people that, you know, stepped up to captain the side, and they're kind of the unsung heroes a little bit of that event, because it is a little bit like herding cats to try and get anything done in first of all getting a team together, then getting them all bought in, then getting them all to turn up on the day, getting them to wear the shirts or whatever it is you want them to wear, to do their team photos, and then, well, whatever they then do in the tournament, it's very difficult to control what some people choose to do in a poker tournament. But those that take it seriously will basically get their team to follow the instructions to the letter of the law, and during breaks they're off telling them what needs doing. But how did you find it with Simon?
Simon is the most laid back skipper you'll ever have. I loved it. I said to him in day two, obviously, like, what are we going to do? Let's look at this. And I'm not my first rodeo in these team events, so I was trying to punch the numbers and think of scenarios. And Simon turned to me and he went, we all know what we need to do. We'll just do what we need to do. Stop bloody worrying. And that was it. And I don't think Simon ever went and looked at the scoreboard once. He was just like, there's you, there's Ian, there's me, there's Adam. Just go and win the tournament, for God's sake. So we did. Yeah, it was pretty straightforward. None of this number crunching, really. I mean, I still did a little bit because I can't help myself. But no, Simon had full trust.
We have. I wish one year we just set up a little camera next to the leaderboard that gets updated. So for those of you that might not know, so obviously there's scoring that goes on in these team events, and we're sat at the desk updating exits, which then automatically updates a leaderboard that moves with min maxes and whatever we can do. And of course, people tend to gather around that screen. And how good would it be, Des, if we just had a camera and a microphone there just on that? Because some of the conversations we overhear are just absolute golden. Some of the stuff, as they're all trying to work the numbers out and work out what they need to do, and I can hear them making mistakes. So, do I say anything? Do I not say anything? What do you do? But it's some absolute beauty conversations have been had over the years.
Absolute carnage.
Well, I think my favourite part was all the other teams that were still in the running were saying, if you got somebody by the scoreboard, and we messaged in our group, and then we looked around, and all of our players that weren't in the team event anymore were just off playing the sides, completely oblivious to what's going on, just wandering over now and again, being like, have you still got chips? Yeah, brilliant. Right, see you in a minute.
Well, Tris is in the chat saying, to be fair, he said, I did take a few photos that he said I thought was key to them.
We've definitely got some photos. Yeah.
Listen, guys, talking about some photos, right? I just, a little bit of concern that I have for a sage of the APAT community, somebody who was, way up there, very loyal viewer of the show. He's tumbled from what was this. Right, so he was there. He's tumbled down to this. And I can't believe it, guys, because this is where he is now. What the hell has happened to Simon Lawler? What is going on?
Honestly.
Anyone help me with that?
How the mighty have fallen. Simon was representing Race for Jack this year. Who had a cracking year last year, but obviously he's obviously aware that he knows any photos taken of him gets used on the show. So that's what that's what happens, isn't it?
I feel like we've been a bad influence on him, Leigh. That's what I feel.
Yeah, he knows what's coming with. Should just give a shout out to say, because obviously Tris did message there. Great run today, Tris.
Incredible.
Yeah, very, very well done to you. He's been up at the UKPC playing events most of the week. I don't think he'd had the best of runs for the week, but actually in the main managed to pick up a nice cash.
1,500,
so very well done
Fantastic.
to you. Yeah, very well done to you, Tris. And obviously we know Tristan will be at Aspers next month, his kind of home casino. So very much there. And of course, we've got a huge schedule of events on for next month. So we have got another event on before then, which is over in Ash, over on the Czechia German border. That's, I think, sold out team event. Yeah. You can't get into that team event, but there are other side events there if you were planning a trip out there. But it's normally packed with local players as well. So apparently a great one to go and experience if you can do that. But that is at the beginning of February. But then we will be in London at the end of February, from the Wednesday to the Sunday, for the European Championship of Amateur Poker. So 5 days and it is pretty packed, and there's a lot of variants in there. So I know the Team Gotham guys have been the chat always perks up when we've got that got there. So we've got a 2-day 8 game in there. We've got PLO Championship, we've got a Bounty Championship. There's a round of each No Limit Hold'em and PLO. There's a round of each 7-card stud and Raz, I think, is in there as well. There's 3 day ones for the main event. There's a nightly comp each night as well. If you want somebody to just kind of flick into towards the end of the day, they're normally sort of a 10 o'clock start for that. And then there's a few kind of win the buttons and other bits. A 2-7 triple draw actually on the Sunday as well. Yeah. So loads going on in that, and obviously Aspers Stratford is a fantastic casino to play poker. If you don't know where it is right next to the Olympic Park, where West Ham's home ground is now. I think actually West Ham are at home on the Saturday, I think, whilst we're there. So it should be quite lively and a good atmosphere in there. But the card room is fantastic, and the team there are superb. We absolutely have had past 2 years. We've been there and had some ridiculously good numbers for our main event there, and we know it's going to be a super 5 days of poker. So if you fancy getting involved, Tom will pop some details up shortly about how you can register in advance if you want to guarantee a seat before you travel, which is always a good thing to do, because it does pick up a lot of local players. So when we're in town, the local players absolutely love it. They're always a little bit at first, this is a bit different to what we're normally used to. And then normally by the end of the event, they're like, can we not have more of this, please? This is great. Love the structures, love the games. So thoroughly looking forward to it. And I'm guessing, Dan, are you going to be making an appearance?
Yeah, not for very long. I'll be there for the 8 game. I've got some unfinished business with that tournament. So I'll be there for that. And then hopefully for the final table on day 2, if not something else, but that'll be it for me. But yeah, so I'll be there for a good time, not necessarily a long time, but yeah. I mean, to be fair, for me, it's the one stop.
Which is the opposite for me. I'm there for a long time, but not necessarily a good time.
Well, there you go, you see.
Leigh.
For me, it's probably behind the worlds. It's that schedule is by far my favourite game.
It's a great schedule, isn't it?
Which is why I love to do.
It's absolutely awesome. I must admit, I had so much fun doing the APAT events, and the team event the other week was such a laugh.
Superb
for 3 days. It really was. I'm really looking forward to everything we've got this year. It's going to be a great schedule. It really is. I
want to really shout out the dealers, bar one at Dusk Till Dawn, for the team event, because I have to say this is probably the first year in the 15-year history of this team event that the dealers bought into the pain of the tournament, right? We all know that the interesting part about the APAT team event is there's about 17 different bubbles throughout the tournament. There's the day 1 bubble to get into the points for the team. Then there's obviously all the different bubbles for the stages with the points going up, and teams needing this, that, and the other. And every dealer kind of at the beginning was like, why the hell is everybody time banking and using these time bank cards and asking for counts and, dropping a chip on the floor accidentally to pause the clock and all these different kind of tactics you can
What are you
use.
saying, lad? What are you saying?
This is, Des, this is the monster you've created. You have to accept it and embrace it. But these dealers at Dusk Till Dawn really bought into it. They were really jovial with it. They were getting involved in a sense and having a laugh. And that's a nice thing to see, because it must, it's very different to a normal tournament, right? With all these points on sort of points available and all these tactics going and so on and so forth. And I just wanted to shout them out because it's not often.
Yeah, nice.
They have a tough job. They're working long shifts, and it's not always, they're not always treated the greatest. But no, I think they really.
Yeah, we work any venue's staff hard when APAT come to town, because we bring a lot of players that aren't just there to play poker and disappear off. They want to socialise, they want to eat, they want to drink. They're very, very chatty. But I think we've got such a superb relationship with Dusk Till Dawn now. It's just absolutely fantastic. I had a lovely little story yesterday. So Natalie, friend of the show, Natalie Bromley, was up at the UKPC this weekend, and I think she went to funnily enough, Tristan just made the comment. He was sharing a table with Natalie yesterday, and she went into Dusk Till Dawn. Might have been yesterday or maybe on the Friday, and through reception, and one of the security, don't know who it was, just said, stopped her and said, are you sure you should be here? And she's looking blankly going, what do you mean? Are you sure you've got the right tournament? And she's looking, okay, what's going on here? He said, well, we only normally see you at APAT weekends. And she was like, oh, right, okay, fine, yeah. I thought, how brilliant is that? It's just like, so yeah. They know the crowd, and they know that they know that we're going to get, it's nice to see. And the staff, we do work them hard, as we do at all the venues, but I think the staff, certainly at the end of the weekend, I still don't think I've ever been to a poker tournament where you've got players wanting to go and say goodbye to members of staff when we've been there for 3, 4, 5 days or whatever. It's such a nice thing to see, and an appreciation for all that they do. It's tough dealing. It really is a tough thing to do. I've had to step in and do it occasionally for events back in the day, and it's not an enjoyable experience to say the least. All those pairs of eyes watching everything you're doing, and it's weird. People seem to think it's easy these days, but actually there's just so much more to do. Just even with the shot clocks these days, which speeds up the game and makes it a much better game. And we've now got to big blind ante, so we're not having the kind of all the nonsense of who's put their ante in and all that kind of thing. So that's eased it. But actually, they don't mess up with those shot clocks very often either. And it's very smooth with the time banks, and it's just okay. Yeah, I can see that you're going to time bank, so I'll just take one away from you. It's not it's done in a very nice way, and it makes it an enjoyable thing to be part of.
I have to say, Rob Young put up a video on the Saturday night on Twitter. We just did a little wander around, and he walked into the bar and he walked into the playing area, and the place was absolutely chocker, right? And I mean, not just the playing area, but the bar was chocker, to the point that he said, I can't get my seat. My seat's gone. Can't get a seat. I'm going to leave. But just look at this. It's amazing. And I think we were a bit amused because he put up a comment on the UKPC a couple of days ago, sort of saying, the numbers are amazing, sold out, we've smashed the guarantee, but would love to have APAT here because, and you can only imagine that's because of just the atmosphere in the bar and all around the place. There's a buzz when APAT comes to town. It's all about talking and laughing and, what have you been up to for the last month, that sort of stuff. It's not just about the serious chiff rippling of the poker. It is nice to go to DTD, and you can very often the first signal from DTD that we've come to town is when Sinclair will, the infamous Sinclair, the doorman for many, many years, since day one of DTD, he'll come up to you and he'll say something like, oh no, are you guys here this weekend? It's like, it's going to be absolutely jammed out the door. Going to be really, really busy. Yeah, you will. You'll be really, really busy.
I think Rob made a good point though. I think not for me to tell you guys what to do, but speaking to Rob about the UKPC and having an APAT side event there would make some sense. It's this kind of, if you look at the tour buy-ins around the UK now and even in Europe, this is a 560 main with 200 sides and so on and so forth. You're not a million miles away. And I think, potentially having something there and being that step up from pure recreational to kind of this next stage, and being able to give players exposure to that sort of stuff will be massive. So nice, and also nice to know that Rob thinks of you that way, right? You know, he doesn't have to tag you in something, but the fact he thinks you'll add some value to an already exciting tour that he's putting on in the UK just goes to show the value that you know APAT obviously holds there with him. So that's good.
I've said I won't go back and play a UK PC unless they make it a 6 max. I'm not anything else. Not my thing.
Leigh's joking aside, because I know he's modest. He's humble. He doesn't like to talk about the old days, right? But there is a video series available, right? You can get it for a £1 draw. There's a £1 draw on Poker Raffles actually for the 6 max from 2011, 2012.
What about if we could do a DVD series and I could talk through. I could talk through the 7 hours on Sky.
I remember this. I remember this hand. I had the 7 of clubs and the 8 of clubs, and I thought suited connectors. Could get fruity with those. I like it. I think we could do that, Leigh. I'd like to think you'd invite me along just to add some color to the commentary. I think in 2025, Dan, and I'm sure Leigh would agree with me, I think there's likely to be a lot of what you've just mentioned there involving APAT. That would be my hopes and expectation.
Carl Jones is in the chat. Just says, respect to the dealers. They did a great job. And completely agrees on the shot clocks. I think they've made a massive difference to the live game. And you're seeing them in most decent festivals now. Basically, shot clocks is just a standard thing. And I think long may it continue because we see too much Hollywooding and people just time wasting when there's no need for it really, and you don't really need that long to make your decisions.
You don't, but it was perfect for the team event because people were kind of holding on to them for late in day 2 tactically, for that reason, because every time a player busts, it's an extra X amount of points based on how many players you've got left. And the way, as I said, the way people were time banking and wasting time was so ingenious. I saw some hilarious things. I think my favorite. Really? Oh, Ian at one point, somebody had shoved all in on Ian blind, and Ian's got like 6 big blinds, really, really short stat. The guy's got him massively covered. Ian uses all 3 time banks, and then with 3 seconds left before his hand's declared dead, turns to the dealer and says, "Sorry, can I have a count?" So then the dealer has to pause the shot clock and count the all-in stat, which is 5 times his, before mulling it over.
I don't take any of that nonsense. You might not realize on the final table that sort of nonsense was going on when it didn't even matter, and I knew exactly it was Jordan's stack actually, and I knew exactly what he won from the hand previously, and I think it might have been Paul Haycock asked for a count again, and I openly said on comms, so for goodness sake, it's like another 400,000 than it was last time. Come on, you know exactly what it is. We're not stopping this for anybody. Let's crack on. I don't. Because the trouble is I'm always very careful what I say on those final table comms, because you are stood right next to the table and pretty much everybody at the table can hear exactly what you're saying. And I would imagine for Jordan, he probably picked up on even more than most people would. With kind of his situation. So I would imagine, he caught every single word that I said. But I sometimes do say stuff, or Des will say something in my ear, because they obviously can't hear Des. So Des will say something in my ear, which I will respond back to. And they're only hearing half a conversation. And sometimes the stuff we're talking about, and you can just see them all laughing or looking at what on earth are they talking about? It's just, it's absolutely absolute quality.
To be honest, it's like most of the people who watch this, Leigh. Same thing, even though they can hear both sides of the conversation.
Yeah, they don't really know what's going. So let's talk briefly about online, because since we were last did a show properly, online poker's it's rigged, it's broken. There are bots everywhere. There's been a couple of absolutely massive stories that have come out, and one of the online sites put up a massive prize if somebody could prove that their software was rigged, and then that got removed, and it's been a weird couple of months, Dan, for the online poker world.
You got to look at your PR team when your biggest names can come out and say, "I'll tell you what, if you think there's bots, set yourself a bot up, run it for 5,000 hands and make money out of our player pool, and then prove it to us, and we'll give you whatever it was, $100,000 or whatever it was. Interesting to see how many more bots got added to the liquidity pool in that week. But not the smartest move, but
if you're a player on the site, you're going to stop just based on the fact that people are actually going to be actively trying to get rewarded for setting up bots from the room itself.
It's worrying that somebody managed to set one up in about 15 minutes after the statement and get it running to a profit. But yeah, I mean, there's that, and there's been the super user issue on GG that's now been and gone away. However, there are a couple. It's interesting, isn't it? We see there seems to be a bit of a cycle. These things, you kind of hear the murmurs and the rumors of something untoward happening on the site, and it kind of builds and it builds with a crescendo, and then all of a sudden, bam! There's like some evidence, and then it goes away. And I mean, the new one now is if you trawl the forums, as you'll see, lots and lots of people are using their HUDs, their like programs like Poker Tracker 4 or Hold'em Manager, and they're going back through their database, looking at predetermined stats. So I'll give you an example. There's one at the moment looking at PLO players, and they think they found a list of about 100 bots on this site based on a parameter of stats like pre-flop raise percentage, raise size, etc. A handful of stats that they're kind of running, and they've basically found this player pool of like 100 players that can play for 16 hours continuously without a break, play the most absurd kind of stats when you look at the heads-up display, like they're playing like 75% of hands constantly over 14 hours and are winning big portions of money, and all of these 100 players stats all sit within like a 0.5% radius of one another, so it almost looks as if it's predetermined. So they're very big outliers when you look at kind of their win rate, big blind per 100 versus the stats and the style that they're playing. So those have now been reported to the site's integrity team to try and get them banned.
And it's sort of not massive news these days, this, right? Because, for example, I was reading an article last week about 888 Poker, right? They returned in 2023. I believe it's $350,000 to players who were impacted by bot activity, and the same activity in 2022. They returned approximately $250,000. So they're super proud of their security team, who've been able to identify an extra $100,000 of bot activity last year versus the previous year, and I'm sure they'll do an even better job this year, one would assume. It's just as the tech, as we sort of catch up, as it were, to some of this stuff. So it's not like it doesn't happen. The critical gain has to be the security teams being able to get on top of it.
I think the sadness at the moment from the community is that on certain sites, the community feel they're the ones that are having to do the policing, and they're the ones that are reporting it to the site before any type of action takes place. Whereas if you take 888 or PokerStars is probably another really good example, because we all remember getting those emails, here's an extra $6 you lost in a sit and go to a bot or whatever else. They do it behind the scenes without causing a fuss. They're doing it daily, and they just send the money back, and it just hits accounts. There's no big hoo-ha. Whereas other sites just seem to not be as forthcoming with what's happening, and then just react when kind of pushed into a corner, I suppose. But at the end of the day, it's always going to be a little bit worrying for players. You put your money on these sites, you trust them to hold your money, whether you're a super small stakes player and you've got 100 quid on there, or whether your bankroll of 10 grand spread across all the sites, you still kind of entrust them with this money, and you want to hope
that was the question I was going to ask you, Dan. You just used the word trust there, and very much with online poker, it is that trust between the provider. Where do you think we are at the moment as an industry with online poker, trust wise? It feels maybe at an all-time low, or is that too extreme?
No, I wouldn't say so. I mean, it's hard, right? Because it's all relative to the amount of your net worth that you have sat on these online sites. So somebody that doesn't have a huge amount on there or plays very little is probably apathetic to the whole situation. Really, it's just a bit of a storyline. But for me, it's a case of, like, I think with the sites, I'm in a really good place with trust. I think most of them, that I deal with day to day with work, it's always a topic of conversation. Granted, I'm a bit more behind the scenes, but security is a massive conversation. That I think these sites are very forthcoming to say, look, there's new ways of being cheated. There's new software out there. There's new this. There's new that. We can only react to it as quickly as we can, but we have these measures in place. And I think most of the sites are reacting really, really quickly to it. You can't stop somebody creating a program and running it online while you're playing online poker. I suppose the benefit of the player pools being so large is that, let's say a bot sits down now and I'm playing, I don't know, we're playing Russian cash where, you play a cash hand and you change table. I might only play 50 hands with him in 5 hours tonight, potentially. So my risk is very, very small. Granted, in those X amount of hours, they might play 3,000 hands against the whole player pool. But the fact that, these guys are picking them up quickly and shutting them down is good. I think they're doing really well. I'm probably more trustworthy of online poker, and I probably have more bankroll on there than I've had for 10 years, I would say.
Yeah, I would agree.
Because I feel it's safer. So it's just sad we get the crap stories, right? We always hear the bad stuff. But I also think these sites now it's coming to the light and people are talking about it. Like, I don't know if you guys watched the Only Friends podcast, which is Matt Berkey's podcast, but he had the head of security on from WPT Global, talking about all the things that they're doing to kind of how they track, or didn't say how they track bots, because obviously that would be a great thing to tell the people designing the bots to be avoid detection. He's talking about the security measures and sort of the process they have in place and so on and so forth. And he's been around and has worked with other brands as well. And it's really interesting to think that, actually this is something they think about daily. I actually think it's safer than ever. And look, if you get caught with a bot on your table and they take some money off you, I'm fairly confident you're going to get it back. So we can always sensationalize the bad stuff, but I'm probably more trustworthy than I've ever been with online poker personally. So
well, I think we can let the APAT community know. I mean, we take this kind of thing super, super seriously, and obviously we've had a number of allegations over recent times about bots within APAT, but Des and I have been to Ilfracombe. We've sat down with Tony Ross. We've had a word with him, and he's as human as they come, isn't he, Des? I mean,
absolutely
genuine, absolutely. So anybody that thinks Tony Ross is a bot, no, we can confirm. We had a cup of tea with him. Lovely chap. So not an issue at all. So
absolutely, he wasn't able to evade bullets or any of that sort of stuff. He couldn't do kung fu upside down while drinking that tea. None of that stuff. So he's the real deal.
Yeah. So we're quite comfortable that's not really. I mean, to be honest, Tony Ross even manages to win raffles. I mean, seriously. I mean, the guy, that's how good the guy is. It really is.
Leigh,
just like,
Leigh, he's not alone. He's not alone. Listen, we should tell the guys, right? If you haven't seen this earlier, we did hold a raffle for an APAT London seat, but also for a WPT Prime Amsterdam seat. And we promoted this thing for 10 or 11 days. It sold out super quickly. And there were 400 tickets. We did the draw a short while ago, and an APAT champion from days of old got the phone call. He didn't answer the phone call. We couldn't get a hold of him. But look, here is the moment that he won. See if you know who he is. Let's just play this.
Right then. So this is numbers 1 to 400. Everybody's in with a shout. So here we go.
Good luck,
guys.
everyone. Good luck.
This is the
Fingers
draw
crossed.
for a WPT Prime Amsterdam seat plus £1,000 in cash. Good luck to all of you. And the winning number is 185. 185. So let me head back over to the website, and I know we're going to have a winner.
We have a winner, Leigh. We were always going to have a winner, but we have a winner.
We have a winner, and it is Leigh Mulligan is the winner.
Wow. Leigh Mulligan, an APAT champion in season 2, I want to say, 2007, APAT Wales. lovely guy, Leigh. Shall we see if we can get him on the phone, Leigh?
We can do. Whilst you're doing that, let me just confirm. I'll just quickly click back to the the random number generator. There we go. 185 was the winning number, and there you can see on the website 185. So Leigh bought his ticket on the 26th. So he'll have only just got that just in on kind of the last day before it sold out. I think.
Wow.
Yeah, looking at that. So
it's ringing, Leigh. It's ringing.
I think
we didn't get him.
I'm most impressed that Leigh's got changed in the 10 minutes between the two shows.
I was about to say, that what have we learned from that? Leigh, I do a wardrobe change in between the two live streams that we do on a Sunday night. Des doesn't bother.
I sweat my smalls off trying to reset up the next stream, which is always interesting. But no, it was good. Really, really good. We had a lot of people on the stream.
Guys, if you're worried about bots, I think we need to worry about the poker raffle bots. Because frankly,
I'll tell you what.
I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm in deep. I'm in deep.
Dan, I had a panic tonight. And I couldn't do anything whilst we were live on the stream. But the first draw we did was for an APAT London ticket. So that sold out on the sort of Thursday. It was. So we decided we'll put a quick something up on the site. So we put just an APAT London seat. We did it was only on for 48 hours, and we did it pound a ticket, so really cheap to win £120 APAT London seat. That sold out earlier on today.
Terry Potter, right? Terry Potter won it.
So Terry Potter won it, but the draw, the ticket number was number 1. Right? So 1 has come up. So I've clicked over to the website, go, well, let's see who number 1 is. So it's Terry Potter, very well. And whilst we're then talking about that, all I'm thinking is, did I actually put 1 to 150 on that random number generator, or did I misclick something? Or because and I'm genuinely going, well, I can't say anything or do anything. So I'm waiting for somebody in the chat to go, yeah, idiot, you didn't put 5. Something did. It's only when we then went back and it was like, no, oh good, it was 1 to 150 because it was ticket number 1
to 1
got drawn. Yeah, and it normally does. The random number generator does this thing where it kind of like rattles up to the number that it's coming. It just literally went back. That was it. What number 1? Just like first one that came out. I did have this panic of have I done something wrong here? This isn't normal. But sure. So Leigh Mulligan, who is a great winner. I mean, and he's going to get to go to Amsterdam and £1,000 in cash, and I mean, just a great experience for a £5 ticket. Superb.
Well, I'm pretty sure I bought 20 numbers, and I think I got 401, 402, 403. I don't know. I think that's what happened there.
That's a classic raffle, isn't it? Like the lady or the man shuffles up to you sort of when you're sat down, just wanted to do something else, and says, will you buy a raffle ticket? And you say, go on then, how much are they? And they say, oh, they're £1 a piece. Or you can buy like a sheet of 10 for like £8, and you go, oh, go on then, I'll have a sheet of 10, £8. And you've got purple, right? They're purple. You've got purple for 46 to 56, and the first thing they say up there when they're drawing it is, and it's a green number. For fuck's sake, I'll just throw them away.
So we went to a charity event about a month or so back, me and my partner, to this venue, and basically Edith Bowman, the radio presenter, etc., was there hosting it, and it was about a short film that's been produced in Gloucestershire about homelessness, and they were raising awareness about this film and raising some money to finish the final production. And they had this huge raffle, and it was all Edith Bowman's kind of movie memorabilia she'd collected over the years, like on this big table. And there was loads of stuff, like, and a lot of this stuff is you can't buy. It's unique. It's from all these movies she's reviewed and so on and so forth. So we buy the raffle tickets, me and the wife, and we sit there, and they do a raffle, and it's a small room, probably sold 200 tickets, and they do the raffle, and they call the number out, and nobody claims it. And so we're all looking around like, how the hell is there nobody with this raffle ticket? That makes absolutely no sense. So they say, right, nobody's there, so we'll raffle, we'll do another number. Brilliant. They do another number, Hannah wins it. So I'm like, fuck it, quid's in here. We've got all this stuff. All of a sudden, this little old lady comes running around. Hang
27!
on.
27!
No, I've got the winner. I've got the winner on the phone. She went home. I'm like, fuck. No.
It's too late.
Edith Bowman's on the phone, and like the poor woman's gone home sick, and she's got the winning raffle ticket, and we're literally stood at the table next to all of this stuff, just like. So do we get anything? Oh, yeah, we came home with a Stranger Things tote bag and a heartbroken.
And a story to tell.
It is a beautiful thing. Well, I mean, is great, obviously, with raffles. I mean, Des has put a little video together where we've been we talked to a number of APAT regulars that have won prizes, and I'm guessing you just asked them to talk and say what their thoughts were about it all. And some of the comments that the guys have made genuinely feel like the community kind of gets what we're doing with poker raffle and understands it. It's lovely. It's a beautiful thing to see.
What I said to each of them was, guys, this interview isn't going to go anywhere, right? I'm not, we might talk for 3 or 4 minutes. It's not going to go anywhere. However, you might say something that we could use somewhere. So no pressure, just we're going to, I'm going to ask you a few questions and let's see how it works out. But there's no pressure, and we're not going to be, as I said, airing the 3 or 4 minute chat. So I had that chat with, with 4 of them. There was Ben, Amanda, Paul, and Dawn, of course. And of course, they were all super easy and natural, and they've played raffles for a little while now, so they understand it, and they understand in particular what it means to them, why they play it. Because it's one thing for us to put stuff up in the Facebook group, but at the end of the day, people will play for whatever reason. So some talked about, well, it saves me time, and some talked about, well, I wouldn't be able to play in a big event for a $5, unless I had something like this. So there's a couple of really good reasons. I think Ben mentioned, for example, it's no stress, right? So if you get your buy-in through this, you sit down, you don't have the normal pressure of thinking, well, there's a decision here. There's a decision here for my, 500 quid buy-in or 1,000 quid buy-in, because you haven't done it. You haven't had to do it. Might not be the best way to play, who knows, but everybody had their own reason. So it was a really nice little thing, and we cut it back to about 2 minutes, and we have played it a couple of times on the raffles live stream. But yeah, it was sort of I suppose, Leigh, for you, I and Tom, it was a bit we looked at it and sort of thought, well, actually people get what we've tried to do with this, and we're only a few weeks in. That's actually just quite rewarding in itself to see.
What I would say, for anybody that missed the draw just before we did the WPT draw, the clip that Des showed, Des did actually just say a little bit about how important the WPT draw was to us, really, and I'd just like to say thanks to the APAT community and you guys out there that have got behind what we've created, and we've already managed to send a bunch of you to different events, and we're going to see a load of you have got tickets now for the APAT London weekend, and we'll get to see you at that as well. And just appreciate your support behind it, and we think it could be going on to some bigger and better things throughout the year.
I'll tell you what was very, very satisfying from a business point of view. If I put a business hat on, after we put the WPT offer up, and it was doing really, really well. I had a message from a legendary, shall we say, tournament director, if you like, within the industry, who sent me a message saying, I really like this. This is really good, really smart. Here's my big exotic event. Could we do some things together? So just to be in those discussions at this super early stage, both doing business with the WPT, but with others lined up, I think it's exciting for the APAT player base, but also for the wider player base in the UK. If they choose to get involved in this, statistically, it's not that wild a shot to think that you might get into one of these big events. I mean, we know several players, including Leigh Mulligan, Ben Walton, Amanda Smith, Paul Rogers, just a bunch of people, Dowie, who've done it already that we know. Incredible stuff. Yeah.
Absolutely. Carl Jones says in the chat, I wish I'd bought me more UK PC raffle tickets instead of wasting time and money trying to satellite in. Obviously, nothing wrong with satellites as well.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that in the slightest. But I do feel that that the poker raffles, maybe for recreational players, is a bit more of a level playing field. I guess maybe that's a fair thing to say. Satellites have become, well, ever since Dara wrote that book, satellites have become really tough. I mean, seriously, Dara's told everybody how to win at satellites now. I mean, it's just ridiculous. He won one for the main event last year, and it only took him 22 minutes. And he'd won a World Series of Poker main event.
Well, he's had to write a new book, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's had to write a new book because you guys have killed the sales of that book. Nobody's going to buy a satellite book anymore, so he's had to write one on GTO.
We're waiting for him and Barry to write the how to win at poker raffles. That's the one we all want. I would seriously, that would be a great book. It really would.
GTO raffles. Let's go. Let's do it.
Well,
in fact, we could raffle that book off, Leigh.
Well, surely your exposure idea next year is for the APAT team event to have a poker raffles team in there that only get in by raffling in.
Yeah, I think that would be absolutely superb way of doing it. That we get a team in there that's basically won raffles.
Just on that point, right? A very good point. It's just come back to my mind. I'll put the raffle thing up again very briefly. We put up a raffle, and we mentioned this on the live draw at 9. We put up a raffle.
I'm glad you mentioned this because I was about to. If you didn't mention it, so yeah.
Well, we put up a raffle on the pokerraffles.com website.
I was just going to say we've got to be careful here. People don't start thinking this show's scripted or anything because it really isn't. So
it's never been scripted. I think sometimes we're connected in a way, but not always in a good way. But yeah, we put up a raffle last week. Which has an entry price, a very attractive entry price of 0.00, right? No money. Is that the way Trump would say it? No money. Probably not, actually. Yeah. A drugged up Trump, perhaps.
That's the whole thing for why. That's the whole thing for
that's
why
another
the APAT show. The APAT show is going to be so good this year because Trump is back. So this is
bring it on, our American friends. We're so sorry, but we're going to enjoy it while it lasts.
Des's Trump is probably closer than his Wayne Rooney reference earlier.
Detail. So anyway, we put up this raffle for no money. That is for a 36 video series on how to play tournament poker live. And this was part of the Nick Wealthall series. So Ben Hales does a lot of stuff in there. Nick does a lot of stuff. Sam Razavi appears throughout it. And they have broken down how to optimize your game live. And 36 videos. It's brilliant, right? There's some really, really great stuff in there. So it is free. All you have to do is click on the that particular raffle. There's 100 entries available, and there's 100 winners of that raffle. So you just enter, and it'll ping you an email with the link to the course. So take advantage. There's some really good stuff there. It was being sold previously at a premium subscription price, so it was highly valued. And we took it from Nick, and we're now giving it away to you guys for free. Lovely.
When we say we took it from Nick, there was no violence or anything. I mean, it wasn't
like no violence.
Me, Des, and Tom went round his house and said, "Give us your training videos."
To be honest, violence between Nick and I could have probably been viewed something like this. No. It wouldn't have made X. Shall we say? I don't think. No. So no, we did a deal. We took all of Nick's training library, of which that is one training course. But there's multiple other courses that we'll find other ways to give out to APAT members going forward.
Last thing on poker raffles is obviously we've got APAT London in a few weeks' time. We will be trying to do some more packages for that, which may involve some side events as well and some other bits and pieces. So basically, keep an eye on it because we might have multiple draws on each week as we're building up to APAT London to try and get to get some more winners for you guys to get into APAT London on the cheap. So keep an eye out for that, because we've got a lot planned.
Right, Leigh, what's next on the old agenda? It's 11 o'clock, Leigh. Bloody hell! It's seriously, like it's scripted.
Seriously, this is how this works now. Have you not got this? 9 o'clock, boom, done. So, I mean, the way this January is going to... The idea is, I wasn't kidding when I said to Des... So I said to Des, so we'll do 9:30 till about 11, so run for 90 minutes, and we can have added on time if we feel that there's a need for it, or I suppose we could go full blown extra time if we need to. But basically, that's the deal. Is we're going to try and get to 11 o'clock, and if we've got a neat place to wrap it up for the week, then we will very much do that. So
spot. Well, I tell you what, Leigh,
and we've not even mentioned football for 90 minutes.
Thank God. I don't want to know. No, I'm not going there, Leigh.
But I've a funny feeling, whether you like it or not, I know it's been a tough week for you, Des, so we're not going to have that conversation now, but in the coming weeks, we are going to have that, the conversation about where your team goes after the news. To be
fair, Des, at least on this call, you're not the person with the highest profile manager leaving this week, so you're fine.
Who's gone?
The main man, Troy Deeney, has just been shipped out of Vegansville, Tennessee, and is now back up on the motorway into Birmingham.
It's a real shame. It's tell that he was just he obviously wildly enthusiastic guy. I like Troy Deeney a great deal, always have done. But I suppose going out to the press and calling out your players in such a way, I guess you're hoping it'll work, but it doesn't necessarily.
I was actually at the Swindon game where it all kicked off, and he got sent off to the stands, as did his assistant manager. I think Forest Green Rovers had like five people booked in the first 20 minutes. Their goalkeeper should have been sent off in the first minute for a penalty. The referee was very poor, and very decisions ended up much more favourable for Swindon. And then in the dying depths, Forest Green should have equalised with a penalty and missed it, and they ended up losing 2-1. I genuinely believe if they'd have won that game or nicked the draw, which was more than fair, I think Deeney's reign is very different, right? Because he picks up some points, the pressure comes off a little bit, but obviously that massive amount of pressure. And look, I saw the game when he said what he said, and I don't disagree with him. I'm not a huge Forest Green Rovers fan, but they're 10 minutes down the road from me now, and I pop along as and when I can, and I think a lot of the things he said were right, but should they be kept in the dressing room? Probably. Sadly, I think the owner of the club is more about shock and scandal and being in the public eye than he is about running the football club.
He likes a good sacking, doesn't he? In fairness.
Well, I mean, they've had Duncan Ferguson with no managerial experience last year, came in, they got rid of him, and they brought in the assistant coach. I can't remember her name now. Some lady, so the first female kind of Football League manager, got rid of her after 3 pre-season games to bring in this other guy who was not very good, got rid of him. Troy Deeney's in, got rid of him. I mean, Cottrell's a great appointment, ex-Cheltenham manager, knows how to keep the club up. But
so all of this, Dan, are you just trying to tell us that's where Klopp is going? Is that what this was about? Is that where Klopp is going?
He's been on his Peloton. He started exercising and realised he likes the hills in Stroud. It's a very hilly place, and I think he's probably going to cut meat out of his diet. So he's on his way to Forest Green Rovers.
Love it.
Fantastic.
Certainly love it. On the football front, Frank Lampard is the guest on this week's Stick to Football, which is the Gary Neville Carragher.
Great podcast. You put me onto it last week.
Have you watched?
I've listened to a bunch of them. Absolutely fabulous.
How good are they?
Yeah, great
so
in the car.
Lampard is on this week. Lampard is on this week, and he's absolutely superb. Some real insights into some of the stuff he talks about back when Abramovich bought Chelsea, and he'd come into the changing rooms afterwards and would literally shout abuse at the players, which was then translated from Russian into English. It's brilliant. It's really, really good. So well worth it. I'm glad you're enjoying them because they're I think they're fabulous. Just a really a lovely informal thing. They're even better to watch on YouTube because actually, say if you can watch them, the chats beforehand And I don't know whether you get those on the podcast version or you only get them on the YouTube version. Yeah. So the chats before they actually officially go live, and they're taking the mick out of Gary Neville when he's going to go, right, come on, guys.
You're always sick. You're always sick, Gary. There's always something wrong with you. Sorry, Dan, that was my Roy Keane, just in case, you know.
Oh, really? I thought that was your Des.
You're always sick, like.
Des does the worst Irish accent I've ever heard from an Irishman. It really is.
It worries me that Simon Brooks' Des Duffy impression is more similar than Des Duffy's own impression of himself. Like, it's scary.
I'm the leader of APAT.
Oh dear.
Fantastic.
And on that note, let's wrap it up for this week, and we'll do it all again next week, I think. What do you think?
Fantastic, absolutely brilliant. So, Dan, pleasure having you on. It's always just funny. It's both educational and funny, and that's always a good thing. So next Sunday night, guys, Jordan is with us, right? The star, arguably, of the UK Team Championship, and possibly Shannon as well will be with us. We might have some other guests on there. We will see. And of course, we're getting closer to APAT London, so we'll be drilling into that a bit further, I'd have thought, and possibly looking at the 2024 schedule, maybe in a little more detail. So that's it for tonight. Have a great week ahead, everyone. If you're playing on GG during the week, good luck with your flops, as it were, and we will speak to you again next Sunday night. Night-night.